Welcome, everyone, to our first virtual author talk hosted by Adams Memorial Library. My name is also Adam, not related. And joining me today, I have author, blogger, and overall man of many words, Chris Rodell. Chris, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with all my friends in Latrobe.
And you have many friends in Latrobe, that is for certain. So we are here today because Chris has written a new book. The book is called Undaunted Optimist, Essays on Life, Laughter, and Cheerful Perseverance. So, Chris, you are both an author of fiction and nonfiction, as well as many other stories over the course of your journalistic career. How did this book come to be?
Well, I had such great reaction from the last two books. The one was about Arnold Palmer, and they were unconventional biographies. And I said the last one had a smiling picture of Fred Rogers on the cover. The one before that had a smiling picture of Arnold Palmer on the cover. This has me frowning on the cover. So I'm not, I say I'm an optimist, but I don't anticipate it'll do as well. But I got the best reaction I got from the Fred Rogers books were the parts that were just about me and my family and the first person parts. And so that encouraged me to put together a book of some of my best stories that I've written for my blog and give people access to that. I wanted to have something out for Christmas because we kind of kidded about the Latrobe community and all the friends I have here, but it's very true. They've been so good to me and my family. And I wanted to have a book out that if people wanted to buy it, they'd have something to give away at Christmas.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
And throughout the book, you very much, I appreciate your ability to sprinkle in little details about the area and all of the little signposts that the astute Latrobe reader will most definitely pick up on and get a little chuckle from as they see it.
You know, I wanted to call it, my original intention was to call it a New York Times bestseller by a small town BSer. Because every writer wants to have New York Times bestseller on the cover of their book, but it turns out they sell a lot of books to do that.
That's true.
So I thought I'd cut the middleman out and just call my book a New York Times bestseller, but the lawyers said that was fraudulent.
Yeah, that might have run you afoul of a couple of different legal teams, but still, the book is most certainly worth checking out on its own right there. Yeah. So I'm curious how you've written a lot of different blog posts over the, 10 years you've been?
Yeah, it's been about 12 now.
12 now.
Yeah.
So how did you go about deciding which of them were going to make the cut for the essays?
Well, we're in such a difficult time right now with the virus and the tumult with the country and that. And I knew I wanted to have something that was totally upbeat. You know, I didn't want to add to the troubles and that. I didn't want to talk about personal things going on with me and that. And so I looked through it and I just curated the ones that I thought had a theme. You know, I would come up with ones like eating and drinking was a title. And then I'd find ones like about world hunger will be solved when we start cloning dinosaurs. Because if you have one dinosaur, you'd need a freezer the size of a Chuck E. Cheese, but it would feed your family the rest of your lives. Now, if we clone dinosaurs, there will be secondary problems that go along with that. But the optimist says they will end world hunger. So then I went back and looked through all the ones, like I had a bunch of ones. I'm always curious about religion. And, you know, did cavemen get to heaven?
Yes, that was that line of inquiry did make me chuckle, I will say.
And I've always wondered, whenever I meet somebody who's about to get married and they're a little nervous, I say, you know, I love being married. I'm very happily married for like 24 years. But if marriage was so great, how come there's no Mrs. God?
I mean, I suppose it's hard for a higher power to find a partner these days. You know, perhaps they should
try eligibility. Talk about being eligible.
Oh yes.
and you know, for years there wasn't even a Mrs. Derek Jeter.
That's true. What chance would the Lord above have? particularly in a time, as you said, such as this, which
Yeah,
everyone trying to make their way, do their best amid
it
shifting
is tough,
social
isn't it?
circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I and you I was glad that you incorporated some pandemic related post in
yeah.
here, not making it the focus, but um, taking the time to reflect on what it means to continue being an optimist
Yeah.
even amidst a lot of crisis.
There's just so much going on. Like I was like the one episode where I was sitting out there and I'd get some gas for the car. Now you can do it cashless
Hmm.
and do it all without touching a soul or seeing anybody. But I had to have a Cadbury egg. And I thought, do I go in there and risk my life and my family for a Cadbury egg? Or do I stay out here and be safe and prudent and do what Dr. Fauci says to do, avoid everything like that? What do you think I did?
I was going to ask you. I read through the whole thing, and boy, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell which choice you made. That was a good.
Damn the torpedoes, I went for the Cadbury egg.
All right, there we go.
You know?
But it's those sort of things that like are running through everybody's mind right now, and you're good at distilling that and keeping it grounded while injecting a good bit of Cadbury egg related humor in there for good measure. Who doesn't love a good Cadbury egg?
But it is, like I talked about, if I die before I wake was, I think, the first post in the book. And
Hmm.
we think about death now more often because of these things. It's coming really close to our doors now.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I die, what will I say about that? What will my life be? And then at the end, I turned it optimistic and said, to hell with that. I'm going to live and I'm going to kick butt. And so I'm going to keep going and like that. And I hope everybody feels the same way. I know we're going through so much tough times right now, but if we persevere and try and love one another,
Mhm.
things could be all right.
Yes. I certainly hope so. I
Easier
too.
for us here in Latrobe with the examples of Fred Rogers and Arnold Palmer
Mhm.
and the banana split, which isn't really an example, but it's nice to have once in a while.
Yes, that is that is fair. We've got good role models for how to
The
keep
Fred
calm.
Rogers role model, I equated that yesterday. I wrote a blog post about some of the things going on in the country and how Fred Arnold Donald Trump. There's a question about where he should be living now, where he's going to be going after he leaves the White House, if he leaves the White House. And I said he should come to Trump House down here in Youngstown because it would be good for him. He would wake up in
Yes,
the morning, he'd look out the window and see a big vision of him.
it's true. Yeah, I don't think he would like anything better than that, to be honest.
But then also it would be influential on him if he got absorbed some of the Fred Rogers wisdom.
Mhm.
The quote we remember from Donald Trump right now is about grabbing women. And the Fred Rogers quote that I always go back to is everybody should have at least one good Fred Rogers quote to remember off the top of their head. And the one that I remember is there's three keys to success. Number one, be kind. Number two, be kind. And number three, and I always forget that one, it's be kind.
It's it is a good philosophy to live by, and
Yeah.
one that I think that anyone in a position of power needs to be aware of.
Yeah.
Right? Like in once you were given leadership over people, always
Yeah.
be kind. You also did include some other material as well to like bookend and frame. How has your writing process been over the course of the pandemic? Have things changed much for you in terms of creativity? I know that some writer friends that I have said they've been having a tougher time actually sitting down and uh, keys to keyboard, pen to paper, whatever the mode may be.
That hasn't been a problem, for
All
me.
right.
I think that it's given me more time to work on a novel that I want to finish up now.
Okay.
And, because some of the other things have like stopped dead in the water. I did do a couple stories for USA Today,
Hmm.
travel stories for them, but some of these freelance opportunities are just drying up.
Right.
So I think I'm using the time to try and promote myself. I just put a new website together,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to make progress on the novel.
Yeah.
So, and like people say, you're a writer, and what I do is I stare out. People say, "What do you do for a living?" I say, "I stare out the window." And then I stare out the window for like a half hour. Then I type for like 4 minutes. Then I
Mhm.
stare out the window again. Then I resume typing. But writing is so different to me. Like when you call I think of like a great writer as somebody with a pen in their hand and it's flowing like that. Me, it's a lot of just staring around, thinking, and then finally coming up with a line that works.
Mhm.
But I enjoyed it. Like I said, it has not been lucrative to me at all, but it's been very fun and rewarding. And I think that's the thing that I hear back from a lot of people in the book. They say you've led such an amazing life, and I really have. One of the stories I did for the National Enquirer were just fascinating. I'd eat like Elvis and that. Hang on.
Yep.
Eats like Elvis. Gained 20 pounds on the Elvis Presley diet in 1 week.
Oh my goodness me.
Laid on a bed of nails.
That's commitment right there.
Everybody asked, was I scared doing that? It was the most painful thing that ever happened to me. I laid on a bed of nails and they put 50 pounds of concrete on my chest and cracked it with a sledgehammer. And that was to demonstrate the power of the mind over pain.
Mhm.
And I said, I must be very feeble minded because it hurt like hell. But then they asked, they said, were you scared? I said, I was terrified that the photographer would have the lens cap on and we'd have to do it again.
Oh gosh, that would have been now that would have been the real nightmare, yes.
But I've had that, and the association with Arnold Palmer was such a wonderful thing living
Mhm.
here in town, and I got to know him pretty well and was able to write a book about that. And people said they really liked that book, and I said that was a very easy book to write because anybody who had association with Arnold Palmer has great Arnold Palmer stories.
Mhm.
And when I got the contract for that book, I talked to my friends at the Bulletin and said, "Could we do a story?" And I said, "Here, tell me your best stories. Here's my email address and here's my phone number." And I got 200 calls
Oh, wow.
from people, and they were just all great stories. And there was just something like I'd see him in the grocery store, and here's what happened in that. And it's just about how he was here. So that was an easy book to write.
Mhm. Yeah, you had all of the community input there working
Yeah,
together to write the book
yeah.
with you. So,
A lot of people, after the Fred Rogers book, I did 2 icons in a row. They said, "Well, aren't you going to do the next one about the banana split?" And I said, the books would just get smaller and smaller and smaller. After that, what do I do? The first professional football game, and
I mean, I think if you set your mind to it, you could indeed make that word count. I have no doubt of that one. uh, but perhaps we'll have that to look forward to in
maybe you never
the
know. Like,
year.
keep failing at this rate, I'll have to go back to do the banana split and just
I
sell to my neighbors.
I find it curious that you're so quick to jump to failing in describing things that is your writing career, because it seems to me you've done pretty well for yourself, all things considered.
Let
With
me tell you a line from Use All the Crayons. Any
all right.
man who says he is his own worst critic is either single or delusional. So I've got reminders around the household that I need to do better.
All right. No.
You're probably right that I probably do talk about that too much, that I feel like a failure because I'm always in debt. But the money is vacant.
Mhm,
It's always hard to make money there. I do make good money doing speaking engagements.
mhm.
Those pay very decently, and like that's one of the things with this coronavirus. It like knocked the legs out from under me because I just had the Fred Rogers book was really rolling, and I
Mhm.
had a bunch of speaking engagements lined up, and those go great.
Yeah,
You go in there and talk to 100 people, you walk out with a bag full of cash, feeling like you robbed the bank.
they just hand it to you.
Well, they buy books. They line up to buy books.
Mhm.
And it's just a wonderful feeling, and the reaction you get is great. So you can make good money, but I lost all that for the last year because of the coronavirus.
Right.
So I hope to resume that again.
Yeah. Here's to hoping.
Yeah.
And I guess to anyone watching who so wishes to host their own virtual session with Chris,
Yes.
you should very much shoot him an email. He'd be happy
Yes.
to do it. If you have a bag of cash, you can send in the mail.
Bag of cash. Yes. People say they like the audiobook, and I said, if you buy enough books, I'll ride around in the car and read it out loud to you.
What's your going rate for that?
I'd do that for $50.
All right, there you go. Truthfully, though, I also think that it would be quite fun to hear you reading off some of these stories.
Yeah.
You definitely have the voice to narrate them.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, you're right though. Like I do have people say that to me. They say, "Why do you think you're a failure?" And it's just that I've never had that breakthrough. Like the reaction I get from our friends around here is wonderful, and it's irreplaceable. I say I get reactions that John Grisham never gets, because these books touch people in a different way than the Grisham book does.
Mm-hmm.
But it is just elusive to find the stability that I need.
Yeah,
that's a problem. But I don't think I'm a failure.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been very fortunate, and I hope that the next book will be the one that'll make everybody want to buy all my books.
Yes. Well, we will certainly have a copy here at the library. Maybe I shouldn't speak to that, not being the one who actually does purchasing. But if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say it's a pretty safe bet.
I think it's a safe bet. They've been great to me there, so
we do appreciate it, Chris. We do.
yeah. How about you can buy books at the Tin Lizzie. My office is at the Tin Lizzie.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how people can?
Well, I used to be above the pond. I was
Mm-hmm.
above the pond for about 8 years, and
Mm-hmm.
then the pond had its ownership change, and they evicted me,
Oh goodness.
which was like throwing Elvis out of Graceland. I felt, because I just loved it there so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I started talking to friends that own other bars, and a friend of mine here, Micah, said they have a place at the 3rd floor of the Tin Lizzie, and it's just perfect. So I'm up here, and one of my favorite things to do is pretend I own the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Buck, who's the actual owner, dresses like he's always ready to gut a deer, and I dress like a prosperous businessman. Now the reverse is true. He's a prosperous businessman, and I'm not. But if he's down there interviewing somebody, if I hear him interviewing like somebody, a salesperson or a potential waitress, I'll come down and go, "Are you pretending you're me again? Get your ass back to work over there. Get that mop bucket. Hi, I'm Buck. What can I do for you?"
Sure, I'm sure that causes no confusion at all. Not at once.
But it's so much fun to be here because people really do enjoy the Tin Lizzie,
Yeah.
and they come up. A lot of people would come up from all over, and they just want to meet me and tell me how much they like the books. And my favorite thing is they come up and they knock on the door, and they're very shy and sheepish. They say, "Oh, we're sorry to disturb you." And I say, "I've been disturbed since 1992." But it's great here. People, and I'm here all the time. So if you want to buy a book, stop in.
All right. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
And I will say as well that in the event you wish to borrow a book, we do indeed have several here at the library. Although always support Chris because he's doing good work, and good work deserves to be paid. But we do have several of the books available for borrow. We will put those on the screen now, and there will be links as well to them, to Chris's website, and all of those various places you can find us around the internet.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. So I guess if we're winding down a little bit here, are there any other thoughts you so wish to share, reflections, ruminations? Obviously, you've got plenty of them to be had in the book here, but
I just say that number 999 from Use All the Crayons is enjoy being human and enjoy human beings.
Mm-hmm.
That covers it all, I think.
I think so. So on that very insightful note, I might have to pick that one as my personal Chris Rodell quote to keep in the back of my head.
Remember this one. The only time bitch, bitch, bitch ever turns into anything positive is when you're running a thriving dog grooming business.
Or that one. Well, it's good. We'll see. Runner up there, perhaps.
Okay.
We very much appreciate that you've taken the time here today to speak with us, and we'll hopefully get to hear and read more from you in the
Yep.
future. So thanks, Chris, and thanks everybody
Thank you,
for
Adam.
tuning in today. Uh, Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day, all,
You too, and happy holidays.
and happy holidays.
Thank you.